Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Nadem and Frank with us. Frank, what have you done to your finger?
I tried to cut my baguette yesterday.
Such a French
and
story.
I forgot I had the finger in the middle.
Yes.
And I forgot that, it's a French story.
Yes.
And I was wearing my beret and I forgot I had the finger. I forgot my finger, so I cut it like that and whatever.
Oh, lovely.
Stupid man. I was awake enough.
Nadem, if
Opened his
Liverpool...
wallet. Try to open his wallet.
No, that's Stevie. Nadem, if Liverpool get Isak and Arsenal get Gyökeres and Eze, who would have the better front three between Liverpool, City and Arsenal? Before we get to that, what's City's best front three, Nadem?
Good question. I think if they're I think you can see two different sides to City. If they're going to be playing with wingers, then you're going to be looking at, say, like Doku and Savinho. But if they're going to be playing with inside forwards, then maybe that's a Shirky and a Foden type. So I think it really just depends. But again, he's got the variability, he's got the options. So we'll see how he plans it out this year. But in terms of those front lines, I still quite like Liverpool, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think with Isak being somebody who we've seen score 20 goals a season in the Premier League, I think for the last couple of seasons, that is a massive coup for them. Because if you can find that alongside a Salah that can get 20, 25, and maybe Gakpo chipping in with like 10, 15, that's probably that's going back towards old school Liverpool with like Salah, Mane, and Firmino type energy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it, Frank?
Very good, and they have all the options. That's what threats me and for the other teams. But yeah, it's true that everybody that you see in the front line can be a threat to anybody. And Arsenal, Liverpool for me will have the best three at front.
Well, maybe it won't be a mediocre season then, huh?
No, it looks like we should improve on
It was mediocre, wasn't it?
Yeah, just we're missing some superstars.
Stevie thought it was.
Well, I think Stevie changed his tune by the end.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think he agreed with
Not
me.
difficult to turn the worm?
No, most definitely
Like
not.
Don Hutchinson style?
Not as bad as
Flick it,
Don.
just flick it and he turns.
Nadem, how do you rate Manchester City's summer signings overall with the likes of Shirky, Nauri and Reinders? Do you think Manchester City still need to sign a right back this summer?
No, I'm not too concerned about the right back, to be honest. But for the brief outing that they had at the Club World Cup, I did like the look of Reinders, did like the look of Shirky, and I think some of the link-ups that they had looked really good. And I think as a consequence, that sort of midfield three or whatever it's going to be can be quite different on a week-to-week basis, but have real good quality. And I think some of the chance creation is going to be up this year. So I'm quite happy with those two signings. And for Nouri, we've seen him do it for Wolves. Obviously doing it for Man City is different, but he's a really good, comfortable attacking option on that side. So I get a feeling he's going to be having lots of goal contributions this year as well.
Craig, is it over for Manchester United? They're broke, have only completed one signing, and all their rivals have strengthened. We've seen clubs like Leeds and Everton fall from grace. Is United done being a serious club?
Well, it's certainly looking like they're going to be doing a lot of the stuff, if any, late. Did you see the reports about the four players coming back? Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony and Jadon Sancho have been told to report at 5 p.m, allegedly, in the evening. I mean, that's just telling you that...
Horrendous.
You know, that's just fostering. That, under no circumstances can that be good. Whether they come in at 5 p.m, 3 p.m, 7 p.m, at no point can that be good for the whole camp, right? Regardless of how poor the actual team is, that's just, you know, and those are four big players, whether they've performed well or not, the four biggest players in that kind of youngster in Garnacho, who was arguably one of the best players, certainly early on in the season. But what's this, where are these signings that Ruben Amorim hung his hat on saying, once I get my players, and I know he got Dorgu last year to sort of play in the wing back, when I get my players that'll fit my system, this freaking system.
Nicholas Jackson has been linked, I'm being heard. But someone's telling me.
What, I was in a time warp? I thought it was April 1st.
Wow.
I mean, that would just absolutely sum up Man United in a nutshell. To go from a sort of stumbling workman-like Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee to another guy who effectively now is going to be surplus to requirement, certainly in the starting lineup. No, I can't see it, but it would be just typically them. But I'm concerned about what way they're trying to go. What's happened to this Ineos coming in and being this brilliant?
Do you remember? It was like a fresh breath of fresh air. They're coming in.
I've said this many times. Whether the Glazers are the Glazers, right? And I know they've run the club with debt and they've taken a lot of money out and dividends, millions and millions and all this sort of stuff. And I know the training ground needs updated, I know the ground needs updated and all that stuff. But in terms of business, they are laughing their socks off. They have encouraged and coaxed investment to come in to the tune of 1.2 billion while still retaining majority ownership of the football club, while sitting probably in the United States on their hands watching it all fall apart and Ineos getting the blame, and rightly so. So Jim Ratcliffe and all these cronies that come in, Brailsford and the rest of them, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing? That is the big question. And at this moment in time, they are looking no more than a sort of mid-table team at best.
Nadim, just going back to the point that Craig made about those players who've been, very much sent to Coventry, in the sense that they are very much outed at the club. You said horrendous when we were talking about that.
Yeah, because it is, in my opinion. I think I've been through this. This happened to me when I was at Man City with Roberto Mancini. It was myself, it was Craig Bellamy, Emmanuel Adebayor, Wayne Bridge, Roque Santa Cruz and a couple of others. And firstly, we were told that we were going to come in to start pre-season a week after the rest of the first team. So they travelled to America, they did their pre-season. It was the pre-season where Balotelli did that back heel in one of the games. But anyway, they did that, then they came back. And now the two of us, we were the bomb squad, let's call us that. We were training basically with the under-18s, yeah? The Deadwood, that's who we were. And we were training at the same time as the others, the first team at one particular occasion. And our session finished a little bit before there, so myself and Craig Bellamy, we walked over to the first team pitch, sat down on some balls and just watched the training session of people who we call our friends and of people who we call our peers, because for the years prior, we'd been playing with them. That next evening, a message comes through. You guys are not to train before 3 p.m. on any day going forward.
Wow.
And the reason for 3 p.m. is because they knew that was the latest time that somebody could still be at the training ground. And I think to myself sometimes, like, a club can tell you that they don't want you, that you have to find a new space. But why does this element of like psychological warfare have to arrive as well? Because the player's message is already clear. We don't want you, we don't need you here. But at the end of the day, like, these are still functioning members, functioning professionals who surely, if they are training and they're working hard and so on, might help in terms of the sale anyway. But instead, you put themselves in this situation. And for those like players, you know, we've just said there, like, they're linked with Nicholas Jackson. At the minute, you know, who's going to be playing in that training session if Rashford's not there, if Sancho's not there, if Garnacho's not there, you know, if these other players aren't there, if Anthony's not there. You could raise the quality, you could raise the competition, but those players can still know that they don't have a future there. But instead you build resentment, and that resentment can spread because those people who they're not training with now, those are their friends, those are their peers. And as a consequence, you now start to look at the club a bit funny, because if it can happen to them, who's to say it can't happen to you? And to finish this off with just one final point, I was lucky enough to play with Patrick Vieira when he was at City for like a year and a half. And he told me a story about when he was at Inter Milan. Jose Mourinho, I believe it was, said to him, "You are not part of my plans for this season, but I want you to come, train with the team, and who knows, if things go well, maybe you'll play in the season. But as it stands, you're not part of my plans." Patrick went, he trained really well, and I think maybe there was an injury at the start of the season. First game of the season, who's starting for Jose Mourinho at Inter Milan? It's Patrick Vieira. What's the harm in allowing professionals to be professional instead of just putting them to the side and forcing them to, you know, be this terrible version of themselves which nobody needs to see?
Nadim, how long did that go on for?
It went on for the entire, till the transfer window closed. And I'll never forget Adebayor. Like, I liked him, I thought he was a really cool guy. Initially he was like, oh, this is fine, I'll just deal with this and so on and so forth. But then those trips in at those sorts of times, they break you. Because you're not even training with the under-18s sometimes. Sometimes it's just 4 of you, sometimes it's 5 of you. Doing stuff that we know is just designed to time waste, designed to just frustrate you, but all the while, you don't have access to your teammates, you don't have access to the manager. They're trying to make it as tough for you as possible. And I know that what the strange thing about it is this happens in so many football clubs. And to be honest, for myself, like, this is my football club I was talking about, this is my team, Man City, team I was academy graduate for, ball boy, all this. I did not cause any disruption within that squad. So why is it all of a sudden you're being dragged out as if you're the cancer of a situation? And I think that's the disappointing part, because it makes you really resent the things that are happening around you and the people who are making those decisions, because more often than not, people will believe that they deserve better.
It was easier to do it. I say easier, it was certainly different. Years ago, when there was less money in the game, it was much easier to jettison a player in that scenario, because the financial burden to the club who, in the case, was much less. And we're already talking. So we're talking about, maybe money shouldn't come into it, but we're talking about, I think, the highest earner at Manchester United, and Marcus Rashford. We're talking about £100 million outlay in Anthony. And we're talking about what they spent on Jadon Sancho, and he won't be on buttons either. Probably the easiest one to do it to is a youngster in Garnacho, who probably earns the least out of a lot of them. But years ago it was very, very common, because players were not on big salaries and the clubs held all the cards. And in some sense the club do hold the cards in terms of contracts here, but when things are going wrong, as they have been at United for quite some time, and you look and you're 3 months into a season and you're getting a shellacking, and you've got probably somewhere close to £1 million a week training at 5 o'clock, then the financial people involved in the ownership start asking questions. Is this the right decision? Is this the best we can do with what we've got? And is this the best scenario all round? And I think when things like this are prolonged, the cost side of it for having players just shunted to the side like this is immense. And I don't think, looking at what Ineos in particular, their rhetoric over the last 6 months, I don't think even a club like Man United can shoulder that kind of burden of losing that kind of money just to have people not involved. Not the way they're losing money.
Frank, just back to Nedum's point, how would you have handled that situation?
It's hard. As a human being, you feel offended. You feel that you're not allowed to do your job, and especially on Nedum's situation, it's completely unfair. Now for players like Rashford or Sancho, for example, I would say to the players, you want to play football? Cut your wage, maybe 4 times less and go back to football. Maybe they have responsibilities, or they have a way to get out. I mean, money talks, okay, nowadays, but it's not the only thing that you have to experience, Football is a fantastic game. You have a chance to do that. You're wasting your time, not showing before 5 p.m. It's awful what they do to you, but there is a way to escape. For Nedum's situation, it was completely different. That's completely unfair. That's disrespectful, and I would have been out of my mind. I think I would have been ready to smash the person who decided that against me. But for the others, there is a way to get out of that system, and especially for Rashford. Don't tell me that if Rashford cuts his wage 4 times less, that nobody's going to hire him. Tomorrow he has like 20 clubs, at least. So there is a way for those players. It's not convenient, it's not nice, but if they love football, that's the only way they can get out of that situation.
When it's happening that badly to you, you've got to humour the situation. You know that I've told you about this. When John Gregory was trying to get myself, Fabrizio Ravanelli and Brian O'Neill out at Derby, it got to there was so many different scenarios, it was just beggared belief actually. But one of them was Derby County had built a new training ground, and all the players were going to see it on the bus, apart from myself and the 2 others who were banned from going to see the new training ground. So when all the players got on the bus at the old training ground, Brian and I decided to get on the bus and sit at the front. And
what a surprise!
and all the coaching staff and the manager, we could all just see the blinds keep opening from the manager's office. We were sat in the bus going like that. Hey! And then eventually they wouldn't come out. And Brian and I got bored and went, this is no fun now.
Yeah.
Let's go, let them go and see the new training ground. And so, when you get treated like that, sitting behind the dugouts at Pride Park at Derby as we were, we then got moved to the upper tier of the stand the following week because they said when the opposition scored, and I deny this, when the opposition scored, they said we were laughing. Now, I'm saying it was Brian and Neil that was laughing, not me.
Yeah,
Were you?
Yeah.
So we got
roll the tape.
So we got moved to the.
But they wouldn't allow you to park in, you weren't allowed.
This is how stupid it got, and I mean this. And listen, and I've said this all along. I've talked to John Gregory since then, and this was a two-way street. I was not blameless in the whole thing, but neither was he. But one day I came in, and bearing in mind I was club captain, I came in and I was told I couldn't park with the other players. I had to go and park with the supporters, about half a mile away. Wow. And on the same day I came in, and one of the players' fathers had said to me before the game, "Oh, I thought you had left." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because your number's off the back of the programme." So all the players were listed on the numbers.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9,
wow.
10, 11. There was no 8. So they'd airbrushed the 8.
What an insult.
Yeah.
What an insult.
And you know when it gets to that stage, there's no way back.
Yeah.
There's no way back of a manager putting their arm around you. There is just no way back from that, particularly if you're an experienced player, as I was at that point. And so when you see that kind of stuff happen, and I say, I was not totally blameless in the whole thing. However, I would never have stooped to that kind of level and trying to force a player out of club. It didn't work, and it didn't end well for either of us, if we're being honest. But it's not, it's probably kid stuff compared to what happening at Man United at the moment. But that's the kind of childish stuff that can happen sometimes to try and get in your head.
Moving on.
Yeah.
What was there an away fixture you regularly looked forward to, Frank? Because there was an activity, a restaurant, or an event place you'd always be sure to visit?
A restaurant?
An away fixture where I used to go before a game?
Yeah, so if you stayed the night, I don't know if you stayed the night afterwards. You'd normally go home.
What it's when we went to an away game, Frank, like Nathan would have, you went down the night before. The armchair football or whatever, I didn't want to explain that when you go for an away game in the Premier League or any other league, it's not a jolly up.
Right.
You don't say to the manager. I hope you don't mind, but I've just Googled a really nice restaurant around the corner, so I'm going to pop up. So that kind of thing.
And you don't stay the night there, you come back after the game, yeah?
No, you come back after the game, so I'm afraid, jolly up to restaurants and away trips are not happening.
Okay, Nathan, what's your thoughts on...
No, nothing.
What are your thoughts on Jordan Henderson going to Brentford? Does this mean he's guaranteed to start for Tuchel in England at the World Cup?
Guaranteed, I'm not sure about that. But to go to the previous question, this is the English version and European version, but playing in MLS, there were plenty of places that some of my teammates really look forward to going to because they quite enjoyed those trips over to New York for 3 days. That was a lot of fun for them. And also heading out west as well, sometimes a little bit of Californian action. Sometimes they go even further north, Portland, Seattle. Some very liberal rules over in some of these places in America. So some of my teammates very much enjoyed themselves. Let's just say that.
But not you, of
Those
course, Nathan, no? You're an innocent party in all of this.
No. Listen, coming from Europe, Dan Thomas, I was built to just arrive at the place, do business and go home.
Right.
All this other stuff, not for me, Dan.
No.
What about that great story Brian McBride told us? And I will not mention the player's name, but Brian McBride told us a story when he was at Fulham that a certain player in their team told his wife or partner that after every home game that they go and stay in a hotel for a debrief.
Yes. Stay overnight.
They stay overnight, which clearly they did not.
No. So then he could enjoy the company of somebody else, wasn't it, I believe?
And
Allegedly.
No comment.
I don't know how long that one lasts, but...
You don't get these chats on the Golf Channel. Who wins the Open Championship, Craig?
I've not really been... I was watching a bit of the Golf Channel last night. It was Shane Lowry, I was watching his...
Right.
I haven't really...
Who's the favourite's got to be Scotty Scheffler, yeah?
I would imagine so.
Yes.
McIlroy missed the cut at Portrush the last time it was there.
Right.
Put his first shot out of bounds.
Did he win the Scottish Open this weekend?
No, he finished runner-up
Oh, he's had his hair cut, hasn't he?
to Chris Gotterup.
Oh, who's Chris Gotterup?
Exactly.
There we are.
He won it. American lad.
Don's going to be there walking the course.
Is he?
Yeah. He's going to be there on Saturday and Sunday, and then he's playing the course on Monday, he was telling me. So if you see someone just wandering in the middle of the fairway.
It's in Northern Ireland.
Yes.
Don's going.
Yeah. I think he's going with McAteer. Who's got more brain cells?
Well, I actually think it could be Don. I saw him yesterday. Was it you that copped onto it on social media, where he was giving himself a pat on the back
Absolutely.
again? Well, I said
he discovered Joel Pedro and
I said,
yes.
I think I said on ESPN FC. I think you'll find if you check the tape. I said Joe Pedro.
Yeah. Well done, Don. There we are. That is it. Any thoughts on the
Shane
Open,
Lowry.
Frank? You don't watch the golf, do you, Frank? You don't care.
No, I don't watch the golf anymore. I want to play again, but it's been a while since I hit the club. But no, I love that game, but I have no time. Yeah, some people have to work, Mr. Burnley.
What time?
You know what?
There's some great videos of
yes.
Naden playing golf. If you go on YouTube, actually, they're quite entertaining.
How do they find their way onto YouTube?
There's someone like a YouTuber who walks around with celebrities and plays like 9 holes with them, and they were a bit short one day, so they got Naden.
Oh.
Well done, Dan. Well done.
There we
You've
go.
nailed it.
Who's going to win the Open Championship, Naden?
Shane Lowry.
There we
Let him
go.
have it again.
Lot of thought on that. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. ESPN FC then returns to your screens tomorrow.
Yep. Go, Chris.
Are you in tomorrow? No. Oh, wow. I think Stevie's here as well.